Custer's last stand was really the last stand, or one of them, of Indigenous resistance. Harley Zephier joins us to discuss his grandfather's role in that battle. Check it out, leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Harley Zephier is on the line with us. Harley is an attorney and the co-author of a book, Warrior Is, along with his brother Harley Zephier. WarriorIs.com is the website for the book. And Robin, welcome to the program. And thanks so much for writing this absolutely brilliant book. Tell us about your grandfather and General Custer.
Well, thank you, Tom, for inviting us. I'm kind of saddened that Harley, my brother, was not able to join us on this presentation. But yes, Tom. The book that we wrote was a work of love that has been in the process for generations. As you all know, there was a very important historical event that occurred back on June 25th, 1876, out on the Greasy Grass, along Greasy Grass River at the Little Bighorn in Montana. However, that is only a part of our great-grandfather's life story. Tom, his name is Mato Niampi, which translated to English is Saved by Bear. And he's a Mnincoju Lakota, which we are also. We come from the sacred lands of the Hisapa, the Black Hills of South Dakota. But one of the main drawing points of this story, the life story of our great-grandfather, was his confrontation, his one-on-one confrontation with Lieutenant Colonel George A. Custer back on that historical date. And I know that people that pick up the book and become interested in it, many times we recognize that their attractiveness, their interest in the story flows from the spiritual foundation of the story itself that emanates from the very land. People all across the world, when you hear them or you hear a reference to the Little Bighorn or Custer, they'll turn their heads, whether they're in Japan or Russia or India or South America, because it just has that type of a spiritual energy about it. And so we took this story that was passed down through generations in our family, through oral history mostly. And I would like to tell you about the event that basically gave us the spiritual permission to tell the story, if I could, Tom.
Sure. We have about five and a half minutes left here, Robin. Go for it. Okay.
Well, my brother Harley, who is also my teacher, my mentor, he took a very sacred duty upon himself to prepare himself to be able to tell this story. And this was a lifelong commitment for him. So when he planned a ceremony that we held on September 29th, 2010, right there on Last Stand Hill out at the Greasy Grass. And during that ceremony, we were granted the spiritual permission to finally come forward and tell this story to the world. And it was held secret for approximately 141 years because we were advised through the generations and through the spiritual connection that we could not bring it forward until such time as we had this spiritual ceremony that would grant us a spiritual permission. And I remember during that particular ceremony, Tom, I was in the altar speaking to the Creator myself. And at that particular moment, I felt a spiritual energy move through my body. And I know who it was. I know it was my great-grandfather. But we had prayed there for the spirits of all those that were involved, all those that had passed, all those that were to come, be they warriors, be they the soldiers, even Custer himself, as well as the horses and all beings on that land.
That's remarkable. So what happened on that day 141 years ago?
Well, as you know, there was a movement of genocide. The United States saw the Lakota people as being in the way of manifest destiny. And the main trigger of the purpose and the intent to remove us was to gain control of the Black Hills and the gold. And the warriors, including our great-grandfather, planned this out spiritually for over a year for this confrontation. And that's how we do things, Tom. And so when the confrontation was to come, there were spiritual messages sent that this could be worked out through diplomacy and peace. But should the moment come when the cavalry and Custer came to annihilate us and to remove us from Earth, we knew that we had to take a stand. And many times this story is referred to as Custer's last stand. Well, in a sense, it was a last stand, but truly it was ours, because it was our duty as the protectors of Mnincoju, Grandmother Earth, to survive and to basically set an example for all peoples across the world that they too can survive in their own way, because there are greasy grass battles all across the world and all across history. This was an important one because it was shown and it was prominently mentioned, and we are honored to be able to tell this story for our great-grandfather and our people.
We're talking with Robin Zephier, who, with his brother Harley, wrote the book Warrior Is, in large part about their great-grandfather who was at that battle. In the epilogue, you talk about the time of a healing circle. What do you mean by that, Robin?
Well, by the time you get to the epilogue, of course, you would have read all of the things going on, and we thought it was extremely important to connect the spiritual foundation of our great-grandfather's life as well as the people's lives to be able to adequately tell the story in a meaningful way. But when we get to the epilogue and we talk about the healing of the circle, there is a circle of life in all things in existence. And each being, not just human beings, but each being is a part of that circle. And the circle needs each part. And we have seen moments in our history where the circle has become broken or shattered. And the Greasy Grass Battle was one of those moments. We refer to it as a breaking of the world. But sometimes in human history, the circle needs to become broken so that we can see the broken pieces, to identify them and to be able to better fit them together. So when we talk about the healing of the circle, there are moments in time when all the circles of all the groups of peoples throughout the world reach out for each other, and they seek each other out to form the bigger circle. So that's what we mean with healing of the circle. In peace,
Robin, we just
unity,
have 15 seconds
love.
left. Do you think that we're at one of those moments right now?
I do, and we made a reference to this. There was a great article that was written by a friend of mine named Mnincoju Lakota. She wrote an article in the Warrior magazine. It's called Who a Warrior Is, and she made reference to our mention of this, that in fact there is a coming of this, and we can all take it to heart and do it if we're committed.
Marvelous. The book is Warrior Is. The author or co-author Robin Zephier, along with his brother Harley Zephier. And Warrior Is, WARRIORIS.com is the website. Robin, thanks so much for dropping by today. Great talk.